I think you're just smoking crack, man.
That's a great way to start the cast, Brian. Thank you. What a horrible thing to say about Lee. Uh, Hello there. We are Geeks Assembled, and we've gathered here again today. And today we're going to talk about Star Wars. No, rather Solo, a Star Wars story. That's the right way around. Let's jump in. Let's go straight to Brian. See what Brian makes this film.
You always have to go towards me. All right. All right. Solo, a Star Wars story. Well, my takes upon this is I really enjoy this film because I actually saw this in theaters, and I believe it was in IMAX. I saw it.
Can I just say someone had to?
I saw it in IMAX. Sue me. But no, I really enjoy this film. Enjoy the plot, the story. I and I really enjoyed the actors in it. I like Amelia Clark, and if like as we know, know her from Game of Thrones, so I really enjoyed her within it. And she's my favorite character in Game of Thrones, but we'll save that for another time. The one actor I did love the most within this movie is Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. I think he was on point and really absolutely amazing to step in the shoes of the original Lando Calrissian. I think he was absolutely on point. And
Brian, what have you been smoking?
Who's the original Lando Calrissian? What's his name?
Billy D. Williams, I think it was.
Okay.
Okay. You're testing me, aren't you, Susan? But Woody Harrelson, I absolutely love Woody Harrelson in most of the things that he's in. I come to see a few things that he's in, and I absolutely enjoy his performances, that whatever he's in. So seeing him in this movie was absolutely phenomenal. But I would have to say though that the guy who replaced Harrison Ford for Han Solo, he was okay, but he was no Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford made that role. The two things that Harrison Ford is most iconic for and best known as is Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and no one could replace Han Solo like Harrison Ford. So just you can't replace an iconic role like that. So but other than that, I did like the movie. The movie was great. I liked it, but it was good. So that's my take upon the film.
Yeah, and about the acting, I would just like to say Solo from the acting school of Hallmark, because that's what it felt like. I mean, I got to be honest. I actually thought the acting in Christmas Homecoming was superior. And that is saying something. Saying that, let's go to Susan, since she enjoyed that film. She chose Christmas Homecoming. We're never gonna let her forget it.
I did choose that one, and I stand by my choice for holiday movie. It's sweet.
No, why we have to go back into Christmas Homecoming?
Because Al had brought it up, okay?
That was
so
horrible.
let me just say that Solo was. It's interesting that we've chosen two movies to review this week. That one was a remake of, the recasting of some favorite roles, and then this one, it was recasting of some favorite roles. and there was some, historical Star Wars actors involved, Warwick Davis uh, and Chewbacca, but Chewbacca played by a different guy because David Prowse was, or excuse me, uh, um, Peter Mayhew was not. Peter Mayhew isn't doing very well right now. So yeah, that with those particular ones, you kind of gotta go, yeah. But like the lion's share of the characters were played by different actors, and some new ones were added, and the his love interest, Han Solo's love interest, you never hear about those sorts of things, even in the rebooted or remixed. You don't hear about any of these past stories that this one came from, and you would assume that they'd choose some of the other ones, like the trek through Corellia on foot, and some of the other ones that they did mention in the books and in the extended universe. You'd kind of see that's where Han Solo would have come out of, but they chose this other sort of random story. But it's a good heist. I mean, except for it doesn't work, but kind of does. But the second one does. But anyway, I guess that's the story. It's like a heist story. But
Dullest heist I've ever seen.
anyway, it was a heist story of, stuff that makes ships go, which is also a new addition to it. But you always wondered, didn't you, how do these ships go so fast, right? You always thought that. You're always like, well, how do they go to light speed, And you wonder why the back of the spaceships have these really sort of bright blue things, Anyway, so that's where it comes from. And it comes from the stuff that they stole on this mission. And they stole it not once, but twice. Anyway, but I think the Italian job did it better because, and I think that maybe Ocean's 11, even the second one, did it better. Gotta have something, you gotta start off with creating characters that you really care about. And yeah, I really gave a crap about Chewbacca for sure. I cared about Chewbacca.
Yeah, but you knew he was going to live. There was no danger.
I know it wasn't a danger thing, but it was like but it's true. I didn't have as much emotional connection with Han Solo as I did in the first series, or even in the
played by a crap actor.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but anyway, so that's my take on Solo, and I just would like to say, viewers, we all will disagree and stuff. And I hope that you disagree with us and vehemently if you feel like it, because,
Viewers, why did you add the S on the end?
I said vehemently if you... Oh, very, very funny. Anyway, here's Alex.
Yeah, as I've mentioned to Susan many times,
Alex didn't like it. Be honest, Alex.
They should have done this movie. They should have done the movie in 1990 or the 90s. By the time they finally got around to this movie, the interest was pretty much gone. Plus, unfortunately, the actor barely seems like Harrison Ford. There is an interesting cast here. They do have talent, but I'm not quite sure where they were going with the movie, because at one point it is an origin story, but then he doesn't seem that interesting, and he doesn't have the same swagger as Harrison Ford. And it's the same thing. I mean, even in the horrible holiday special, Harrison Ford still has more personality. He has more personality in the Boba Fett cartoon than this guy does, unfortunately. They did try something.
He has more personality in the doll.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, it's just like it seemed like they were trying to do 8 angles at once, and it didn't quite work. And even the female characters are good, but they don't give them enough to do either. Uh, Lando was good, but they didn't give him enough time. Then he has a robot co-pilot. It's kind of like I don't know. It just seemed like it was trying to cover, and then it felt even weirder because it felt like it was good. It was supposed to be a prequel and a sequel to The Empire Strikes Back, and it just didn't seem to work. Kind of. I mean, it worked that it reminded you of that, but again, that's not what you want for an origin story. That's not what you want for a Han Solo character. And yeah, it just didn't work. The cast isn't bad. There is potential there. They just didn't do it. And to be fair, it is a Ron Howard movie as well, and they had to reshoot a lot of it as well. So I think somehow it sort of got confused, and then the robots are good, but then they're not the same as they are in the other Star Wars movies. So that doesn't quite blend either. So it seemed to be kind of a weird. It's. I just get the feeling they were trying to be 7 movies at once, and it just didn't work. Where I felt like if they had taken the character directly from like the radio version, the Star Wars radio version in the 70s and the 80s, or if they had done the version that the books, the Han Solo trilogy, which actually went over how he became Han Solo and all that, it would have been a lot better because there were definite characters. There was definitely a villain. The villain here just felt like, oh, I'm going to try to be a modern British villain. But otherwise, you could be watching Die Hard and it would be a better defined villain.
Oh, I must have missed the villain in this film because I didn't see one until 15 minutes towards the end because there was no villain for the whole thing.
Well, they tried, but again, it felt like it was trying to be 7 movies at once, and they should have stayed with the 1970s version of Harrison Ford and then tried to update it to what he'd be like young. Now, in terms of meeting Chewbacca, it was cute, I guess. I still wouldn't have viewed it that way. I think it was Brian Daley who wrote the original Han Solo trilogy about how he became Han Solo and his, his shenanigans and all that.
That's what I was talking about.
And then they didn't have Jabba, they didn't have Greedo. So it's kind of like, okay, I understand maybe they couldn't do it or maybe they didn't want to do it. But it just felt like, I don't know. I mean, and Harrison Ford is so good as Han Solo. I mean, I can go into any movie theater, and the minute that they meet in the cantina, I will hear the women getting excited or clapping or whatever. And that's staying power. You know what I mean? If from 1977 to now, people are still cheering when Harrison
Maybe
Ford...
they're getting excited about you walking into the theater.
No.
Maybe that's what the women are getting excited about.
I'm talking about Star Wars.
Alex, they see you coming in.
I'm talking about Star Wars, you causing trouble. No, but again,
they see you coming in, Alex. They think, is he available?
Again, I think that's I think that's the other issue, unfortunately, that I'm having with Disney is that
I'd like to see
they bought the Star Wars and they bought the Marvel, and yes, they gave some of that money to education, but again, making
education.
Yeah, they did. What? They gave some of that money to education, or George Lucas did. But anyway,
okay,
to American education.
Right.
I get what you mean. Or whatever. Oh. But here's the thing: if you go from one extreme of 3 movies in 7 years, and then you have to wait another 20 years for the prequels, and they wanted to have Han Solo in those, and they decided not to, which is fine. And then what? You wait until what, 2010 to
Yeah, it's
start
ridiculous.
having sequels
Yeah.
again? That's too many years in between. So
Yeah, and
it's sort of like they're doing the same thing like Paramount. You're oversaturating it, and it's not working. And then if every movie has to make 500 million in sales, do you understand
Yeah,
how
but
many
Alex,
people?
one of the things that hurt this film was that it came out only 4 months, about 4 months after The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi came out in December,
Yeah.
and this came out in what, April, May? May was it? Yeah. I mean, that's too. It should have been this Christmas, and then it might have fared
and
better.
and they didn't do any preliminary, uh, what do you call it, merchandising beforehand.
No,
There weren't like little speeders or little, New Millennium Falcons with, uh, they didn't sell the droid. They
no.
didn't sell the.
Mind you, who would buy that bloody
They didn't
droid?
sell any Lando Calrissian capes. They weren't selling Tabak decks ahead of time. They didn't sell those little
Yeah, but it's
power.
not. It wasn't Christmas, was it? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because they sell them for Christmas, don't they? Those toys. They sell. If you sell them in May, you're going to sell less of them, aren't you? Really?
But you're going to sell them anyway. If you give it a year, you'll sell a lot of them. The trouble is if you only give yourself 4 months to completely regenerate, um, all of the all of your merchandising, then it's not enough time.
All right. Well, but here's the other issue too, though. I mean, again, doesn't even feel like the Star Wars universe of Star Wars or before Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
And then they admit that, well, they don't have to mention the Jedi Knights. That's fine. But here's the other thing: not only the merchandise, no, they don't. Not only is the merchandising bad to the point where Mel Brooks is outdoing you. That's pretty bad. When Mel Brooks outdoes you and does a
You're
better
in trouble.
Star Wars tribute movie that's 20 years old than you do, you're not doing it right. So it didn't feel like Harrison Ford. Barely. They had a lot of good woman actresses in here. They barely have any time. Woody Harrelson again trying to take over the screen. I mean, I like him, but come on, enough. You didn't really have a good villain. You could barely see the other aliens in the movie too. I mean, at least with the other Star Wars movies, you saw who Greedo was. You saw who Jabba the Hutt was. Here,
Yeah.
you don't even see them because everything's dark again. I mean, that's the other thing that even on YouTube they're complaining about is that all these movies are either too fast, too many jump cuts, or everything's super dark. You can't see anything. What's the point of a movie if everything's dark? You're already in dark, you know? So yeah, they just did it wrong. Their heart was in the right place, and I know they tried, but it just didn't. It just, again, it made me want the Solo of the 1970s, even with the holiday special that was so written so bad with Art Carney and B. Arthur. And even the cartoon was better because they even gave Chewie a lot of lines, although C-3PO was repeating them in the TV special. It's a shame because again they had such potential, but here I am watching the movie, and I'd rather be watching the woman characters or Lando than the other characters, and you failed as a movie, basically. Um, so yeah, it's I think what they need to do is write a really good movie. Don't worry about when you're going to release it. Don't worry about the merchandising as much as write a movie that will appeal to both Star Wars fans and non-Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
And I think the closest they came to that maybe was Rogue One
Yeah.
and maybe The Last Jedi. Even though I only like
I
the
wouldn't
last.
say The Last Jedi. I don't think
Yeah.
The Last Jedi appealed to Star Wars fans, really.
I did like the last 20 minutes with the confrontation between Kylo Ren and Luke Skywalker. I mean that
Yeah.
was cool. To me, that was worth the whole movie. But before then, no. And like I said, the timing is so off. They really should have done this in the 90s or the early 2000s, and I think they would have
Can I
done
ask a
better.
question, Alex?
Yeah.
Can we go to Lee now?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Alex. Lee, Alex is allowing you to have your say, so I would like you to thank him.
Thank you. Right. Let's
Right,
see.
that's it. Thank you, Lee.
No,
Back to Alex.
right,
Alex,
no,
what's your favourite moments?
Whoa. Right. I like this movie, but the lead actor playing Han Solo, as it's been said, wouldn't acting. I think he only got the part because he can smile like Harrison Ford, and it was mentioned in the movie, smile. And he has got a very similar smile to Harrison Ford. I think that's the only way he got cast as a character. And my opinion as well, Amelia Clarke is not a very good actress. She was so wooden as well as the leading lady. Woody Harrelson is not a very good actor. You see what I mean? There's a theme going here. When you've got the main actors in a movie what are not very good actors, it's going to bomb. Even if it is a good story or even if it's a poor story, you need good actors to make the film better. What's his name? Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. I agree with Brian. He did nail it. He did nail the Lando character. He made the movie for me. And also, Tandy Newton, brilliant actress. But she was only in it for 10 minutes or so. It's a shame that she killed her off early on in the movie. Paul Bettany as Dryden Boss. Yeah, he's a brilliant actor, but wasted, as Alex has mentioned. He only realised there was a villain for the last 15 minutes of the movie. If they used Dryden Boss more through the movie, because Paul Bettany, he is a very good villain actor. Chewbacca. I love Chewbacca. Every scene with Chewbacca in it, I loved it. I hated L3. I was glad that got its comeuppance. Just so. Every line for L3 was just so forced. And you knew what they were trying to get at.
But the problem with L3 is L3 felt like she belonged in a different film. Because she really didn't fit in with the rest of the film. And she's only in the middle of it. They bring her in during the middle and then kill her off during the middle as well.
It's
weird.
I mean, I do like the action sequences, the heist of the train, and it's brilliantly done. Those scenes and the Kessel Run scenes and stuff like that, brilliant. The imagery is brilliant. For me, it's the actors what let this down. Personally, for maybe the 3 or 4 main actors, actors, and I would never have given the lead to this guy in a million years. I don't know what. Is it Ron Howard directed it? Did he have any say in casting?
Yeah, it was Ron Howard that directed this.
Yeah. I mean, was it just because he could smile like Harrison Ford? Because I tell you something, he doesn't act like Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is a way better actor. And as it's been mentioned, it was totally promoted wrong. Why 4 months after The Last Jedi? I agree, it should have been released this Christmas. And as Susan mentioned, the merchandise and everything like that, it would have boosted the box office for this. But I enjoy it. It's a heist movie. It's not a Star Wars movie because I do like that it didn't have the Jedi. And it's also no Empire-led themed movie. It is a heist movie.
Yeah, I mean,
and
the
I
only Empire stuff was that one Star Destroyer standing in their way.
Yeah. I mean, it was a breath of fresh air that is not to be tied down with that.
But without the Jedi, I mean, what's really the point in this whole universe, right?
Well,
Well-
you see, with these type of
Yeah.
with Rogue One and
Didn't
Han
have a Jedi.
Rogue One and Han Solo movies, they're not meant to have the Jedi and be actual Star Wars films. They're meant to be like standalone films that have that.
Yeah. But it for me, I enjoyed it that it wasn't tied down with all the laws of the Jedi, all the laws of the Empire and stuff. What all the other movies have been tied down to. It gave it a bit more free reign. But it did have some. Well, not a Jedi, Sith, shall we say? With the cameo from Darth Maul, which was quite good when he appeared at the end. Because nobody was expecting that.
Yeah,
You're right. Okay,
I was, because I saw the spoiler reviews.
But yeah, for me, I went in it thinking, yeah, okay, it's a heist movie. I'm going to enjoy it for that. And the action scenes were brilliant. The war scenes at the beginning, where they're in the army, and say the heist on the train, and really good. Shot brilliant. Ron Howard knows how to shoot scenery brilliantly. But as I say, for me, it's the actors what let this down. But there's just a couple in this movie what do it for me. Tandy and Paul Bettany and Donald Glover all shone in this movie. It's just a shame. The main one, the leading actor.
But that's the thing, then, Lee. It's failed as the film it's meant to be, because it's meant to be a solo film. It's not. Yes, it's based in a heist setting, but you say it's a good heist film. But it's meant to be a solo film, a Han Solo film.
Yeah, and what is he? He's a smuggler.
And it's a heist smuggling.
No, but it fails. What I'm telling you is, it fails his character, which is the thing it's meant to get right. Yeah, that's the main thing it's meant to get right.
Yeah, I've said that. The actor lets the main actor, the lead actor, lets the movie down, but also the supporters, about 3 of the supporting actors let the movie down. So, but apart from that, I enjoyed the rest of it. You know what I mean? Over to you.
Over to Alex. No, I'm joking. Oh dear, where do I begin on this? This, you see, I heard it wasn't very good. And I thought, well, I'm not going to take any notice of what people say, because people say many films aren't very good. And then I watch them and I enjoy them, and I don't see what the problem is and why people moan. The thing is with this is badly written. This is badly written. This is badly directed. And this is badly acted. Simple as that. There's no villain until the last 15 minutes, so the whole film is rather dull, to be honest, because Star Wars, and I know this isn't technically, you can say, oh, well, it's not technically a Star Wars film, but every good Star Wars film, even Rogue One, has a good villain. Rogue One had a good villain, that guy, I can't remember his name, but he was a good villain. This did not have a villain. Chase sequences and sequences of war are all right, but they just rang hollow because there was no threat. Just going boom, bang, boom, bang. How many more times do we have to see the same boom and the same bang? And how many more times do we have to see the same car chase? And it's like, yeah, they're going to survive. They're going to be all right. They're all going to live. Yada, yada, yada. Just move on, carry on. Like I said, the script is awful. And L3 just comes out of nowhere, and L3 is just so forced. Just like Lee says, so forced. And there's jokes that L3 says. I mean, when she's getting out her where she opens the gates, and she gets it out from that area, and you're thinking, did you really need to put it in that area and the jokes he says, oh, look away, I don't like people watching while I do it. And it just feels wrong in the movie. It just feels wrong. The character's awful, and and she starts this uprising and gets killed. I mean, she's not a very good planner, is she? Um, yeah, the film. It's bad. I'm sorry to say it's bad. I've honestly, the only positive thing I can say, only positive thing is in the last 15 minutes, I did begin to enjoy it because there was a villain. And for me, you have to have a villain. There's no good having the explosions and having the action sequences and having the fighting. That doesn't bother me because that's all we see that all the time in films. You know, there's all you can watch. Just bloody watch the mindless Transformers films where they're all just explosions. You know, just watch them. Just sit there drooling down your top watching them. You know, mindlessly in the cinema. Yeah, exactly. They're mindless. But I like a villain. And in the last 15 minutes, you did have a villain. But they should have set him up. Like Lee said, have him, like, throughout the film. Like, he was the villain. He was after them. He was going to get them. Because that other one, who you thought was going to be the villain, then turned up not to be the villain, that girl. Why did she kill him in the first place at the beginning then? Why didn't she just open up to him saying, oh, you know, it's all a mistake. We're just doing this for this and doing that for that. And then they wouldn't have been killed. They could have helped each other at the beginning of the film. This could have all been solved in the first 10 minutes of the film.
Are you sure?
I'm being serious. If they just talked at the beginning of the film, they wouldn't have need to go on that massive heist to get the naked, that place.
But then
they wouldn't need to get it. They would have just got the train one on the train.
But there would be no movie if that happened.
There you go. So it's a bad film. It's badly thought out. Badly thought out movie. And badly directed. Alex hit the nail on the head. This is several films rolled into one. This doesn't know what it wants to be. And the acting, I'm being generally serious when I say the acting in Christmas Homecoming, and I know we ripped that film to pieces, but I think that was better. Michael Shanks is a better actor than any of these, and I think Susan would definitely agree with that. He definitely is. He's good in Stargate. He's amazing in Stargate. He's a good actor. He's better than
and Michael Shanks took a character that had already been played by another actor in Stargate and, started from that place and even built it more and more up. Whereas, in this case, the actor who replaced Harrison Ford didn't bring that character to a new level. I mean, even Zachary Quinto and Chris Pine could be said to have been, in the Stargate, in the Star Trek universe, have taken the characters in different directions, but they didn't drag it down into the mud.
But there was more threat in the Magic Roundabout than there was in this film. I mean, and as well, it's like there was no development of any of the characters, really. I don't feel like there was any development of Solo at all. In fact, Solo was the weakest character of them all, which is ironic because the film is about him, and yet he's the weakest part of the film. It should have been a Lando film. A Lando film, I think it probably would have worked much better. It just doesn't work. And I think Alex is right. What they've done is they've rushed this out for May, this year. And what they should have done was they should have just delayed it. They should have just delayed it and said, look, let's redo some of this dramatically. Let's get a new set of actors in, because the actors, they are awful. They are awful.
Again, the other issue is they did it to coincide with A New Hope for the same release date technically, but they're also
Yeah.
forgetting if it's a space soap
No, but you
opera.
should release a film. You should release a film. But you should release a film when it's good, and you know it's good. They know this wasn't a good film.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Now, I know there's always been a debate about whether there was any good acting in any of the Star Wars movies, which that's kind of a trope. That's kind of a trope.
Alex, yeah, I agree with that. Wait there. But they didn't have any spark. At least Carrie Fisher, at least Mark Hamill, they had a spark about them. They had a charm to them.
Yeah, they captured the audience, and here that's not happening.
Captured the audience. Yeah. Exactly. None of these actors capture the audience.
Well, no, wait a minute though. Lando was good. Lando had potential.
Yeah, but he wasn't a main character really.
Yeah. And the women and the women actors had potential. But the problem is, since it was basically 6 movies in one, and they didn't really set the universe, and it just basically turned into a heist movie, and let's have a flight movie and remind you of The Empire Strikes Back, which is fine. But the difference is with The Empire Strikes Back, you already had a feeling about who Han was, and he just accelerated it. And then there was people that were interested in the Lando character, too. So there was thrills and chills in The Empire Strikes Back that there wasn't here. There wasn't a thrill or a chill about it. There wasn't enough to make you care about the characters and say,
I didn't care about any of the characters.
Yeah. So I think that's the issue there, is that, or maybe they thought, well, if we scale it down and only have like Woody Harrelson and Donald Glover. So Woody Harrelson, Donald Glover, a little bit of Tandy Newton, even though she dies in like 15 minutes. And then the other woman and the robots. And it's like, okay, well, that might seem like a Star Wars movie on the face of it. But no, it's still not satisfying enough to make you really want to watch the movie, remember the movie. Because Rogue One also had robots, and they also had women characters as well, but the robot was better. The robot was sarcastic and funny.
And then they go into like L3 having sex with Lando.
Yeah, that kind of, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, where are you going with this? I don't know.
Well, wait. Am I watching Star Wars or Westworld? Which one am I watching here? Because it feels like Westworld.
So out of place.
Yeah, it was. That wasn't appropriate. It just was like, yeah, you guys are just trying to shock the audience.
That was just stuff for fan fiction.
Yeah, whichever.
Yeah, but this isn't meant to be fan fiction. That's the problem. This did feel like fan fiction, and it felt like it was fan made, apart from the graphics.
Well, again, fans wouldn't necessarily be bad, but the problem is, even with the women characters, I'm like, well, where are they going? Because at least with Rogue One, I felt like the character was going somewhere. I mean, exactly. I know people that would argue that Rey is a better character than the whole movie put together. And I actually don't agree with that, but you understand what I'm saying, is that the Rey character from the new trilogy is more defined than any of the women characters in this movie, which that's strange also. So it just seemed like Alex, it just didn't have a,
Give us your favorite moments, you two.
All right.
Like I said, Donald Glover is good. The women characters are good. I just wish they had something to do. They don't really seem to have a lot to do in this movie. And then Tandy Newton, who is a good actress, who is in Westworld and Mission Impossible movie, and is a good actress, she's just not given a lot to do in this movie either. Like I said, they did do good for the Chewbacca character, even though I don't know if they really would have met like that. And of course, Chewbacca can't talk, and I don't remember what the subtitles were. I think some versions do have the subtitles for Chewie speaking. But again, they've never really had subtitles, and Han is basically translating for him. So you really don't learn any more about Chewbacca except for his age, basically.
I didn't know Han could speak Chewbacca's language.
Oh, yes. They've been talking I mean, how would you fly a spaceship if you didn't know what the other person was saying?
No, I thought you could understand him, just not speak his language. Speak Wookiee.
Yeah, they that wasn't a bad
I
thing.
mean, it was a
all
bit silly when he was making those noises.
Okay. No, I guess not. But I guess my favorite moment was on the tension. There was one scene with a lot of tension on
Was
the
there? I must have missed that one.
as soon as they delivered the stuff. I was pretty convinced that they would finally see the bad guy right then and there, and they kind of dragged it out, and that increased the tension when they delivered the fuel into the refiner or whatever refinery,
Yep.
and how sort of old school and steampunk the refinery was. I thought that was fun. But I also thought that scene had a lot of tension in it, and I had a lot of compassion for Chewie at the beginning. That was, you could see how rough things were for him and his people and stuff, and yeah, the Lando moments. Now that you guys have mentioned it, were pretty sparkly, but yeah. So those are my moments.
Let's go to Brian for favourite moments. Yes, you, Brian.
My favorite moment. My favorite moment. My favorite moment. um. Okay, my favorite moment. So I think, well, my first and toply, possibly best and favorite moment out of all the film would have to be the cameo guest appearance of Darth Maul. That is probably one of the best things that they ever put in this film. And this is not the same Darth Maul that was in Phantom Menace, because it's not, that's not the reason why they put him in this film. They this is the Darth Maul that the fans know from Clone Wars and Rebels and everything, because he has the robotic legs and he has the same outfit and lightsaber that he has in Clone Wars and Rebels.
He didn't have robotic legs. He had legs.
It's robotic legs.
No, it's Darth Maul.
Yeah, it's like metal robotic legs.
No,
'Cause
but he didn't have robotic legs in that scene.
he had his legs cut off in Phantom Menace.
Yeah. This is before Phantom Menace.
No, it's after, because this is during the time of Clone Wars and Rebels.
He didn't have robotic legs in that scene. He had legs.
I was just
I'm not.
watching it.
I'm not really sure. I think that Brian may actually be right on this.
Thank you, Susan.
Well, I wasn't looking at his footwear, but I think he did
well-
have robotic legs.
I don't think so, but there you go.
I think he did.
Anyway, but the thing I like the most when they brought in Darth Maul, not only is it the actor that was in Phantom Menace, which I think Ray Park is his name, but they also brought in Sam Witwer to dub over the voice, because Sam Witwer does the voice of Darth Maul in Clone Wars and Rebels. So I loved how they combined and brought those two together for Darth Maul and the fandom and everything.
You nailed it again. That's exactly right again.
I am. Second possibly favorite scene would probably be the train heist scene, and because I love the visuals and the special effects and the fight within that scene. So I'm gonna say that scene was my second favorite scene. And lastly, my third and final moment would probably have to be from when Han meets Chewie for the first time, because you don't really understand why or know within the earlier films or the films before of how Han and Chewie meet. So I was happy and glad to see when I saw this film for the first time in theaters, and also when I watched it on DVD, to see how they met. So it was nice to see how they actually met. But again, I absolutely 100%, the best scene I love the most is the Darth Maul cameo. That is the best.
Yep. Let's go to Lee. If he's awake.
I think he's sleeping.
For favourite moments, Lee.
Lee, can you hear?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you now. Fire away. Nope, I think he's gone.
Yeah, it's not
Lee,
gonna.
He's watching the scene of Darth Maul
Can
to
you
find out
hear
he
us?
does have robotic legs.
He can't hear us. His headphones must be off.
Can't hear us.
Oh, it's your turn. You go.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, all right then. Yeah, favourite moments? None. No, I do. It is the Darth Maul scene. It is a Darth Maul scene. I do like that. I think that was the most interesting, well, the only interesting part in the film. The ending with the villain and Darth Maul. Really, if the rest of the film had the villain throughout, I would have liked it much better. Yeah, that's the rest of the film is just don't bother. Just don't bother. Let's go to Lee for favourite moments. Let's try again.
Can you hear me? Can
No.
you see me?
No.
Good.
Fire away.
So, favorite? Well, I've got a few. I mean, it's been mentioned. Darth Maul turning up here. I like Lando. The characterization so vain, and the gambling scenes with Lando is brilliant. But it's just that he has a room full of capes in the Millennium Falcon. Just little things like that. And also, Millennium Falcon, I never knew had an escape pod, but this one, that's how they lost it. Yeah, the action scenes of the heist, yeah, brilliantly done. But for me, I say Paul Bettany as Raven Voss is a good villain, but as Ali has said, should have been used more in a better movie if they used the people with more potential in the movie. And anything with Chewbacca, especially the scene with the chessboard in the Falcon, just harking back to original Star Wars. Just a little nod to the past there. So yeah, that's some of the scenes. Over to Alid.
I'd just like to give an update on the Darth Maul situation. Brian, you will be pleased to know that you're absolutely correct. He did have robotic legs.
Told ya.
Yep, he did. He did have robotic legs. Lee, you obviously weren't paying attention. I would suggest, Lee, that you've only watched 10 minutes of this film.
No. I'm not Welsh.
Right, let's go to final say and score. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you might as well go first.
All right then. Final say and score for this film. Han Solo, Star Wars story. I think I would probably give this film I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Oh, wow. So you quite enjoyed it then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Over to you next, Aled.
Oh, no, Alex is host. I'm just sitting here. Alex, Susan, what are you going to give it out of 10?
Yeah, I'm only going to give it a 7. Like I said,
That's pretty low for Alex.
if they
That's like a 2.
if they could have made more decisions as to where the movie was going, if they could have defined the characters better,
Yeah.
and if Han Solo had been more like Harrison Ford, and then the timeline's all messed up too. I mean, is he 18? Is he 20? Is he 30? I don't know. I mean, you just don't know. So yeah, and this would have been better suited for a TV movie actually, or an internet movie rather
Just do it
than
as
a
a
full.
cartoon.
Well, yeah, but they they've tried to do that. So the other 2 movies, or maybe 3, like they were supposed to have one with Boba Fett. They were supposed to have another
Yeah, cancelled them.
Obi-Wan movie. They're
Cancelled.
not sure if they're filming that. And then there's supposed to be another trilogy in 2020. But the problem is, again, I think the interest has sort of gone out. I know they made money with Rogue One and Last Jedi and Force Awakens, but unless they're going to have Rey with her own series again, I don't really know where they're going to go. And again, I mean, they're taking actually an old product and putting new life into it. But the thing is, the 80s, 90s, that's when they should have been filming all these movies.
Yeah.
And I think there would have been more interest. Of course, they may not have looked as good, but then again, Lucasfilm Studio is known for special effects. So I don't know. I just hope when I see episode 9?
Yeah, episode
That is
9.
more interesting than Last Jedi and Force Awakens.
I doubt it.
Yeah, and it's not that high on the list for me because Kylo Ren is not really a character that I like. So at least Darth Vader, he seemed interesting. Kylo Ren doesn't seem as interesting, so I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure where the series is going. I don't know how Marvel's and Disney is gonna make any more money off of these movies, and I think they've overdone it. I think that they've made too many sci-fi movies and too many superhero movies, and I think they're gonna lose the audience because there's too much interest, too many products.
Yeah, I'd agree. Let's go, Susan.
I'm gonna say I'll give this an 8.5 out of 10. Not very high for me, I know, but there were Star Wars moments, but
You liked it because it said
and there,
Star Wars on the box, didn't you?
and there was tension in that one scene, and
The one scene.
that was kind of good. And all right, maybe I'll give it a 7.5. I'm talking myself out of this 8.5 right now.
Susan, if it's not very good, then you are allowed to score it low. It's fine to score things low. That's what we're here for.
And there was Lando Calrissian and Darth Maul as well, and Chewbacca. I don't know. Yeah, you'd think Lando would have gotten it on with girls, you know, biological girls rather than a robot girl, you know, because he was
L3. I just would have. I just don't see.
He was such a smooth so and so, you know. So maybe a 7. Hang on, I'm just talking myself down to some sort of, you know.
What?
6.
So Susan, why don't you put the score up? Because you did have a Wookiee and Solo shower scene.
Yeah,
Yes,
there was that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I love the beginning of that friendship. That's true. So maybe 7.5 for that. No, 6.5. I don't know.
6.6.
6.5 because of
But
7.
L3.
No, I think
L3 was really out of place in this film.
I think I'll settle on a 7 because just like Alex, I suppose, because of those various things. And I'd like to say that next time Star Wars wants to do a standalone, they should merchandise the heck out of it beforehand.
Or just make a good film.
Because without the merchandise, it doesn't matter if it's a good film. I loved the prequels. There was tons of merchandise for them.
That's true. There was, yeah.
I mean,
crap, but there was lots of.
And there was a build-up. I mean, they had a line out in front of our theater for 3 days.
Would you really
3
want?
days I camped out for that movie. I camped out for that movie for 3 days with little Anakin in it.
Oh my God.
I dressed up like Padme as close as I could. You know, I was into that. There was merchandise. There was stuff. You know, you'd take the merchandise and you'd go camp out in front of the theater for the movie. That's how they do Star Wars. They screwed up this time. They didn't do any merchandising ahead of time. There wasn't a build-up. There wasn't a line out. I mean, what the heck? That's not Star Wars.
What kid would want an L3 action figure with that extendable thing in the groin?
I know.
I mean, who the hell would want that? Why did it have to come out of a groin?
I know. I understand these things.
Weird. That was
I understand these things. So there is a question. And, you know, with an extender thing out of the groin, that isn't really a girl robot anymore. That's more a boy robot.
I
mean, even people who are trans would, you know, maybe use a strap-on or something like that. But that's a boy. That's a boy thing. You know, that's not a girl thing.
Lee's just thinking of the memories.
I would agree with Susan upon the merchandising.
Here's the yes. Go on, Brian. I agreed with you earlier. You can agree with me now.
So Susan's giving it a 6. Let's go to Brian.
I was just gonna say with the merchandising, there was good merchandising, like around with the Star Wars. With any Star Wars movie, like whether it be the prequels or the original trilogy.
Phantom Menace had such good merchandise.
It did, yeah.
But the
it deals with walkers and everything.
But I would have to disagree upon the prequels itself. The prequels were beyond crap.
They were crap. Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
I'm sorry, they weren't, because there was plenty of merchandise and there was a line out.
No, they were still crap films.
Yeah, the only one that was good was Revenge of the Sith. That
wasn't. That was crap as well.
That was only in the decent.
Oh, you're talking about.
Sorry, I love the prequels just because of a lot of different things. I mean, we haven't even gotten to review them yet.
You wait. They'll all be getting minuses from me.
Revenge of the Sith was the only decent amount of.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. But anyway, we should.
-8 for the first one, -10 for the second one, and -7 for the last one. There you go. That's my review of the sequels. We never need to rewatch them now. Thank you.
Prequels, not sequels.
Anyway, we need to ask host Alex if we can go to Lee for his final sound score. Give us a nod, Alex. Yep, we can go. We're fine. We got the all clear, Lee. We're going to go to you for final sound score from the master host.
Hey, you've been told that many a time, haven't you? You've got the all clear.
Are you my doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
What was I going to say? See, I enjoyed what it was. I mean, yeah, we know there's a lot of problems with the movie as well.
And what was it? A solo film? So
I'm
you
gonna
enjoyed it as a solo film? No, you didn't.
No, because the actual played solo was no
Exactly. So
good.
you didn't enjoy
But
it for what it was.
No, for what it said on the tin, it's
Said a
what's
solo
it said
film.
about action?
Solo.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
that's just the title. That's just the title of the character.
It's irrelevant. It was a film about
It's
him,
the
and you've
Star
got to
Wars.
judge it by him.
All right, it gets an 8.
Eh? An 8 out of 10.
It's an 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Back to Alex. No. Is that all you're going to say on it? 8?
Yeah, you're not persuading me to change my opinion on it like you've
But
just persuaded
I've
Susan.
got Susan's score down.
No, stop putting your thoughts onto other people.
So you really liked L3 and you really liked all that.
You've got Sith powers. That's what you.
So you really liked L3?
No, I didn't like L3.
Oh, so it's
No,
not
I
8.
didn't like L3. That's what. No, it's not a 10, is it?
Well, 8's pretty decent.
You may have nailed it, Lee. I think Alad has Sith powers. He is one with the dark side of the Force.
Lightning across Hull.
Yes, Alad is Darth Maul in disguise.
Oh,
In disguise.
He looks more like Jabba the Hutt.
anyway, the cast did Alad give his score?
No, I'm going to give my score now.
Yeah.
I am going to give it. Look, I enjoyed the last 15 minutes. That's the only part of the film I enjoyed. Other than that, it just left me frustrated. Through the whole thing, I was just thinking, this just isn't going anywhere for me. This just isn't happening. This just isn't interesting me or engaging me. Like with the other film we just reviewed with Star Trek, it was engaging. The actors were good. The script, even though it had flaws, was relatively entertaining. It was entertaining. I just didn't find this film entertaining. And for that reason, I think it's going to get, I say, 3 L3s out of 10. It's getting 3 out of 10. That's it. That's just for the ending.
Okay. Let me try and bring your score up. What about that?
You want me to go down? Okay, 2.
What about that?
Two.
With Han Solo and Chewbacca in the shower?
Yeah, I'll go back up to 3 now.
And what about that that heist scene with the train scene?
Yeah, what about it? It's just a heist scene. How many films do you see with a heist scene? Like loads of films. You've seen it 100 times before.
All right.
And the film could have just been over there and then.
Darth
They
Maul?
talk to each other.
What about Darth Maul?
Yeah, what about Darth Maul?
Yeah, I've added the ending. I've added that into it. The ending. I said the ending. The ending.
You
I mean
said
Darth
the
Maul.
ending. You didn't say anything about Darth Maul.
Yeah, well, that's because he's at the end.
No.
So maybe a 4 or a 5?
No. What? Because I don't like the Phantom Menace, which Darth Maul's in.
So you're saying you don't like Darth Maul?
No, I said I don't like the film he's in. I quite like Darth Maul, and I like the fact that he's appeared as a cameo in this film. And maybe if he was the villain in this film throughout the whole thing, it would have been better. But there just was no villain for an hour and a half, whatever it was, of the movie.
2 hours.
Until the last 15 minutes. Yeah, hour and 4. Yeah.
Like 2 hours and 2 hours and 30 minutes, I think.
Was it that long? Can't even remember.
Yeah, I think so.
It wasn't 2 hours and 30 minutes.
It was 2 hours and 10 minutes.
That's it. Yeah, it was 2 hours and 10. And for most of it, it was just no villain. It's all right to have these action sequences that look really good, but every other film in the cinema has action sequences that look very good. I mean,
you just don't like
Mary
action.
Poppins Returns had more action, had just as many action sequences.
All right. So you won't.
You've got to have the villain.
You just don't like action movies.
It's like with any. It's like with
You said
any
that Christmas Homecoming had better acting. So how about giving it one more for
Give him what? One more.
Because you gave Christmas Homecoming so low, you should give this one even higher.
No, I shouldn't give this one higher.
Yeah, you should.
So what did I give Christmas Homecoming?
I believe you gave it a 1.
Yeah, so this is higher. I've already given it higher. I'm giving it a 3.
Oh, dear.
Which is higher.
Hey, I gave Christmas Homecoming a 0, so
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna be fair. No, Susan, you're right. You are right. I've got to admit, when I'm wrong, you are right. I will give this a 0 because Christmas Homecoming, the acting was better.
Oh, dear.
Was it now? Really?
Yeah. No, I'm being deadly serious. The acting in Christmas Homecoming was better than this film.
No,
I'm generally being honest about that.
I would say that's the opposite.
It had a better plot and the characters made more sense.
Yeah, it did, and it had more excitement. I mean that fundraising at the end, that auctioning, it was a bit of a thrill there. You didn't know who was going to win it, and if they were going to raise the money.
You need to get out more.
In this, it was just bang bang boom. Yeah. Yes.
Is that the poem by Baldrick? What you just did? Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. That is the best review of this film. Boom, boom, boom. And on that note, we're going to end it there.
Yeah.
Oh my!
I'd like to thank everybody here for suffering with me along in this cast and during the duration of Solo. Please,
No.
Disney.
No, we suffer with you. We suffer because of you.
No, with me. You suffer with me.
No,
It's
we
in the
suffer
contract.
because of
You've
what
gotta,
you
you've got to be here every week suffering with me.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Disney, don't bother anymore. Just don't bother. It's Star Wars is a one-trick pony that's lost all its legs. End of.
Apparently not, because Daft
But
Ball's
I
grown
will
some
still
more.
I will still watch the next one. I'll still watch the next one, Disney. I'll still go and pay to watch the next one, but please stop. So yeah, I'd like to thank everybody here for joining me, you for watching. Look after yourself. Take care. We will see you next time.
Be wild.